Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children 18 plus, you are tuned in to the Loan Officer Podcast with me, Dustin Owen, and a very special guest. This dude is a rookie loan officer. He is in his second year in the mortgage industry. His name is James. We call him Jimmy. He is on pace, currently in the lead, to be Waterstone Mortgage's Rookie of the Year. He is averaging over $1 million a month in production, and he has agreed to come sit in the hot seat and be interviewed so we can all figure out what in the hell is he doing, how in the hell is he doing it, and how can we be more like him. Jimmy Nadeau, thank you for being a guest on the Loan Officer Podcast.
Well, thank you for having me. It's very big honor for myself to have.
Yeah, it's a little surreal for you, huh?
Yeah. I remember listening to these and watching all these walking the dog late at night when I was thinking about coming here and interviewing and thinking, man, one day I'll be on the podcast, and here I am.
Yeah, so full disclosure, I talk about Jimmy on the podcast many times.
Yep.
So if you ever hear me mention Jimmy the rookie LO, it wasn't me just making someone up. Like I once talked about a listener named Brian. Full disclosure, I'm gonna let a secret out. Brian's my childhood best friend who's a Border Patrol agent who lives in San Diego.
Yeah.
I once may have said, oh yeah, Brian in San Diego. Yeah, that was kind of made up based on him, but Jimmy's real.
Yep.
And Jimmy was referred to come work at Waterstone with us to become our next rookie loan officer because he witnessed technically it's your wife's brother-in-law.
Yep.
What you call him your brother-in-law, Mike Williams, absolutely crush it after leaving the car industry after 5 years.
Yep.
And how did that transpire? How did Mike convince you to come into the mortgage industry? Like, what was his pitch?
He sent me a couple of his commission checks.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Did he really?
He's like, check this out. No, it was more about the flexibility and freedom. You know, Mike had a couple small children born and was working the car dealership circuit, working 5-6 days a week, but till 9 o'clock at night. Then we had family time. I was working in a corporate job, but in a service industry, and it was 7 to 5 Monday through Friday, and it wasn't working with kids. And
Okay.
he said, here, come on, you can do this. You know how to do it, and you can make a lot of money.
What was the money the most intriguing aspect, or was it a part of the industry that the money was nice, but there had to be more behind it for you?
Yeah.
Money and flexibility, right? Is what I heard thus far.
Yes, and really the most important thing was that I love to help people and take care of solutions or problems and provide solutions, and I can make this much where I was or that much doing the same level of service here with a larger transaction and affect somebody's life to a higher degree. So
Okay.
no brainer.
Let's talk about that a little bit. Were you? I don't know how the audio is. Maybe get a little closer to the mic.
Okay.
Yep. There you go. If that's okay.
Yep.
Okay. I tend to scream though and be very loud.
That's all right.
And it always. You know what? Maybe you should sit back to make it hard on JC when he goes to edit the audio.
Yeah, I was a little sick, so I'm kind of,
Yeah.
a little under the weather, but all right.
No, but talking about what was it like? Mike, your brother-in-law, came from car sales.
Yeah.
Did you come from a sales background? What were you doing prior to the mortgage industry?
So prior to this job, I worked for Cummins Engine Company, and I worked at the Orlando distribution branch, and I was in charge of the service operations for mobile service, for field service. I was a field service supervisor. I started there as a service advisor, worked my way up to that. That involves, we have 5 guys in the service trucks that run around and fix everything. And we can get deeper into it, but you're basically servicing people and you're selling service sales.
Okay, so if someone has a Cummins diesel engine, I think of like motorhomes, I think of generators at like grocery stores,
Exactly.
I think of, I don't know, someone driving a Peterbilt Mack truck or something.
That's right.
I guess Peterbilt and Mack are competitors, right? They're not the same.
They're competitors.
But okay.
Yep.
You,
same thing.
so their engine breaks.
Yep.
You had a team member go out to fix it.
Yeah. So
Okay.
on the field service, we were a little more high profile. Probably the largest piece of equipment I could think of that gets the most shock is the space crawler that NASA owns that moves the rocket out.
Yes.
It has 4 60-liter V16 Cummins engines on it to run it.
Okay.
Very big.
Okay. So
And-
when that breaks, they call Jimmy.
Yeah, and they don't just call like we need next week. It's right now.
Yes.
Or a hospital has certain generator parameters they have to meet. If it breaks, big contracts, big pressure on the line. So you don't get to call anybody else. They call me, and that's it. I have engineering resources, and I had that's my advantage. But I can't say, sorry, I can't help you.
Okay, so you are used to being resourceful. You are used to problem solving. You are used to the client's always right.
Under pressure.
And doing it all under pressure while having to do it at the highest level of service because people used you for that.
Yep.
I'm sure there's other people that can fix those engines.
Yes, yeah. So, I mean, like, now you could argue that a gentleman driving his RV with his family for Wilderness at Disney, he thinks he's just as important as the generator at
Florida Hospital or something? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So we kind of had to work with that. So that was a lot of the people aspect of it. Before that, I worked at car dealers in service department, and that was an amazing way to kind of cut your teeth as far as dealing with objection. And somebody rolls in and you need new tires. Just trying to sell them tires. No one goes home and posts on social media, bought some new Michelins today. Yeah. Like, that's not it. They post, bought a new home and housewarming presents and all that. But you dealt with objection of service sales for people that really know they need to do it but don't want to do it. And
like, hey, bro, your water pump's getting ready to go.
Exactly.
Hey, you actually need to flush out your transmission.
Yep.
And all they see is, Jimmy, why are you trying to sell me another $600 in repairs?
Yeah. And they never budgeted time or the money into it. So that job gave me very thick skin, gave me good rebuttals, gave me good clarity. We're not trying to sell you tires, trying to keep your family safe.
I love it. How long were you a service advisor for on the auto side?
4 years. I became a service manager, and then I left, and then I came back into another dealer for 2 years.
Okay, so I was today years old when I learned that about you. Yeah. Like, I always knew you as you managing 5 service reps for Cummins, but never that. And it makes sense now. Your success that you're having early on is making sense because you did come with a service sales background.
Yep.
Right? Like, because we have rookie LOs who come in through our program who are great salesmen and great saleswomen, but they fail. Sometimes they fail liking the industry. They don't fail like they're not having successful calls, but they have to understand they're not selling a product. It's not like selling life insurance where I make a phone call, I make a pitch, you decide yes or no. If you decide yes, sign here, I get my commission check.
Yep.
It's not like my friend who sells IT training where he reaches out and convinces someone that they need to spend the money to have their staff trained, sign here, get you enrolled in class, boom, I get a commission check. Because the mortgage industry, the way that I see it, and correct me if I'm wrong, it is service, right? You can get a mortgage online, at Walmart, at Costco, from your bank, from your credit union. You can get a mortgage just about anywhere. But who's going to do the mortgage the right way, or give you the best options, or get it done in a manner that is on par with your expectations?
Yes, very much so. And also, is it gonna fly? Is it gonna close? So I remember when I interviewed with you, I told you my hobby is to build engines, performance engines or car stuff. And a loan is very much like an engine. If I assemble an engine and I miss one bolt, or I don't torque something right, or I don't install the right part or a new part or replace something, it might not start. Worst case scenario. That's best case scenario. Worst case, it starts up and it destroys itself within seconds. So a loan, if every item is not checked and done, it's not going to go.
So, okay, this is all making sense. You're a thorough person who's used to having to do large projects where details matter.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about your first year. So you got started in the mortgage industry, was it January or February of last year?
It was February.
February of 2021.
That's right.
So essentially, for those tuning in, the way that I would describe it is Jimmy was in his licensing from February through about May, right? May 1 probably when you were like, hey, let's release you to the streets. So if I really want to look at it that way, we're coming up on May 1, right? Like, in fact, when this episode drops, it'll be like May 2.
Okay.
May 2, May 3. I think May 3rd is when this episode is going to drop. I know that because my wife just sent me, we use Cozy as the family calendar.
Oh, yeah.
She just sent me a Cozy calendar invite that I guess we're going to the beach on May 1st, which is a Sunday. And I know that JC drops these episodes on Tuesdays and Fridays.
Okay.
And I know that we just literally laid down a fire episode about my trip to DC and advocating on behalf of Capitol Hill. So I'll tell you, you are going to be Jimmy May 3rd. Is going to be, how to become a successful loan originator. Listen to Jimmy's story. And that's what I'm really hoping today is because although you're not out of the woods yet, right? You're like, if you were a pregnant woman, we'd say that you're, month 8. You know,
yeah.
like you look, baby's full term. We don't not worry about too many issues, but we would like to get you to like month 9 and a half. Because I tell anyone who's willing to listen, it takes 2 years. Period. End of story.
Yep.
And you signed on the dotted line to come on board in February. You had some training that you had to go through.
Yep.
Let's say your first 6 weeks or 8 weeks was done there. By May 1, you hit the ground running. So you're a full year into this. Calendar year 2022. By the way, I hear people crying about how hard it is. Interest rates are skyrocketed. There's no inventory. And if you listen to me, I'd be like, yes, this is the best time to launch your career. Yes, this year is going to make sure you become great. What, your production through 4 months, you're averaging how much in production?
Right at $1 million a month.
Right at $1 million a month. How many units is that?
I think 19.
Okay,
No, through 4 months.
Yeah,
4
so
months.
you're 4 units. You're
4 minutes. Yeah, 4.
You're somewhere between 4 to 5 units a month.
Yep.
You're somewhere about $1 million a month, right? You're a rookie loan officer. This is your first full calendar year, right? That's how I denote a rookie. Your rookie year is your first full calendar year. So yes, someone like you who started going through the licensing and training aspect in February and launched your career in March, you definitely have a leg up on someone who started in October, right? Because your rookie year is basically the following full calendar year.
Sure.
But you're averaging $1 million a month, 4 units. But how many of those are refis, Jimmy?
1.
One refinance. One refinance out of those 19 loans that you've done. But you probably just started off really strong. You're probably going to fade because, man, rates shot up and it's tough out there. What does next month look like for you?
Yeah, I'm sitting somewhere $1.5 million, 1.6.
$1.5 million, right? You told me I was getting ready. You're like, hey, I just got to do contract in.
I sure did.
Yeah, that's fantastic. How about the paychecks? Like, is next month's paycheck going to be your biggest one ever?
It will be within a few $100s of the last 4 months' paychecks. Or 6 months, it had been the biggest ever.
Okay, so basically, since about December,
yeah,
every paycheck that you've been cashing has been your best one.
So I have a funny story about that.
Okay.
I didn't even tell you this, but when I came, my first loan closed on May 21st.
Okay.
Last year. My daughter was born on May 20th. I was in the hospital when it closed. So my wife was 7 months pregnant when I came to work here. We knew that it was going to be all on me to do it. Goal is for her to retire. She worked for a local hospital, and
has she?
She has.
Yeah, how cool is that? I want to unpack that. Like, I don't want to just gloss past it. So, again, tuning in your story, but as I hear it, you onboarded a new career that was 100% commission, launching your own business, and your wife was 7 months pregnant.
Yeah.
Okay. All I hear is yes, you can.
Yep.
Right. If you want to, you will. Close your first loan the day before your daughter was born.
Day after.
Day after your daughter was born.
And it wasn't even this day of, but it's.
Yep.
Yeah.
And fully acknowledge going into that you were doing this so that your wife could stay home because your daughter's not your only, right? You have 2 others.
That's correct. We have a 12-year-old, 6-year-old, and she'll be 1 in 4 weeks.
She'll be one next month. Yes. That's fantastic. Okay, so you're talking about you closed your first loan in May.
Yep. So when I came, I had some savings, and I cashed out my 401k from Cummins, and all said and done, I had about $15,000 was what the check was.
Okay.
And I saw the check in the junk drawer in the kitchen last week. I said, "Oh, when did Waterstone start sending checks?" That was exactly the amount of almost the dollar of what I made in 1 month was my 401k nest egg I cashed out.
Wow.
Wow. It obviously paid off.
Yeah, but that's awesome. So like you started in February, you didn't start seeing the good checks until December. Or was it January, based on December's production?
It was December was a bad story. December was a 0. So,
okay.
But that's okay. You don't remember because we were both, you might remember, we were both in excellent shape after our party in sales rally. And we were riding around a golf cart golfing. I said, oh, I just hit $1 million for my first month. And that was in September or October.
Okay.
So November was the first big.
Okay. So your first, like, oh my gosh, I've never made this much money in 1 month was November.
Yeah.
But December was a crash, which, by the way, that's typical for someone newer in their career.
Yep.
Like a younger professional, you're going to have bigger peaks and valleys as you're trying to figure out how to consistently maintain what it takes to not just get on top, but then stay on top and then grow from there. But then since then, your January, February, March, April paycheck, every time it cashes, you're like, I never made this much money in 1 month at any previous job or career I had.
That's right. I made almost like, fourth grade math. I made half of my income I used to make at Cummins in the first quarter of this year.
Wow.
So
okay, yeah.
You can throw that out. Like, I mean, it's
Yes.
so by July
Yes, so-
I should have made that and then double it.
Yeah. So you are on pace, all things considered, to double your income.
Yep.
And I'm assuming you still had made a very nice living while working at Cummins.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it was like, hey, they're paying me $12 an hour to dig ditches.
No,
I mean,
no.
you had a leadership position.
Yep.
You were a manager.
Yep.
Cummins is a worldwide company.
Yep.
Like, this was a legit full-time career job, something you could have stayed at for another 15, 20 years.
Absolutely.
But you chose not to. Now, don't lie to people, right? You're on here because people want to hear from you.
Mm-hmm.
They're tired of hearing from me. Okay. Work-life balance, better than before, worse than before, or different?
It's different for the better. And
Okay, explain.
So, in a service-based job, you're at the disposal to your client, which we are here as well. But it's
And who's your client?
At Cummins, it was more the whoever had equipment in or what was going on. And
Okay.
that business is a 24/7 or very early morning. So I get to work at 7:15. I'd be late.
Okay.
Now I wake up, I take the kids, I leave the house at 7:30 to go to school, take the kids to school, drop them off, make a couple phone calls, TBD calls, realtor calls on the way home in my quiet time, come home, help my wife with the baby, get dressed, maybe meet for coffee at a realtor somewhere, and then get to work. And I can come to work and not be late and do my work. I work till 5 or 6 here. I go home. I do work at home a lot in the nights. So that's where a little bit of the difference is.
Okay, so you didn't work at home necessarily when you were in your
No,
previous career.
Not really. I mean, if something came through, but it was rare.
Yeah, but your previous career, you were in front of your computer, sitting down at your desk by 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, 7:15, you said you were late.
Yeah.
Okay, where this one gives you the flexibility to do the dad stuff, do the good husband stuff. You're still working a little bit, right? You mentioned TBD calls. We talk about that on
Yep.
T-Lop.
Yep.
You're doing coffees with realtors. Okay, so work-life balance, you'd say, is different, but for the better.
Yeah, and I like to be able to do. I don't have to be in the office to work.
Yes.
I can also do pre-quals at 3 or 4 in the morning. So when the baby, Olivia's her name, would wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning.
You named your baby?
Yeah, no, my wife named the baby.
Okay.
Olivia. So yeah, I named my son, but she named the daughter. So I would wake up at 3 in the morning to take care of her, and I would jump on the computer and run credit or structure deals or do stuff because I was up and able to do it. So
How did you know that you were right for this career? At what point? Or are you still trying to figure that out?
probably when I figured out a way to use the way I think and the way I like to help people to figure out a complex solution for them for their purchase or whatever it may be. Like the refi deal is a cash out debt consolidation refi. We paid off $20,000 in debt, so
Was that the one refi you did?
yeah, life changing.
Yeah.
He's
So you
tech-
changed someone's life.
Yeah, he's texting me, I can never repay you. And I said, don't worry about repaying me. The water stuff takes care of that. It's
A nice bottle of bourbon, please.
Yeah, right. So he's a law enforcement officer, and I said, what you do is good for us. And yeah, so $20,000 in debt gone, $500 a month in monthly payments gone, $200 a month in mortgage reduced, and got him out of a balloon interest only payment
Wow.
or mortgage into
Yeah.
the regular.
So it was that transaction that you're like, yeah, I'm doing God's work here.
Yeah, I guess. So yeah, that, but anyway, so like you always say, can you solve problems? One of your earlier podcasts, when I interviewed you, I think it's number 94. It was So You Want to Be a Loan Officer, and in
So
that
you want to be a loan officer is actually 41.
40, okay, whatever
41.
94 is or 90
Okay.
or is something in that range. I was here and you said, hey, there's one dropping tonight.
Yeah.
Watch that. Well, it was all about like the Rubik's Cube. Can you play a puzzle? Can you do this? I like to say now with today's rates and market, it's Rubik's Cube on a roller coaster because you don't know what's going on. But using that type of
I like
mindset,
that. It's doing a Rubik's Cube while at
Riding
Busch
a roller
Gardens
coaster.
on a roller coaster. Okay.
Yeah, because you never know what's coming. But so using that creative type of mindset to fix the problem. Another tagline I have is I tell a lot of clients, I'll say, look, you probably don't know what you want to buy. You don't know where it is. You don't know what's it cost. You know when you want to buy it, but you know you want to buy it. Let me help you with that. And that's kind of what it comes down to, where they don't know. Let me pre-qualify you. Let me steer you in the direction of what you can afford. And then you can take it from there with your realtor.
Was there ever a time that you doubted your decision?
You were in my head the other day because I had 6 or 7 loans this month, and I'm down to 2.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, everything was going great, but they roll over, and we call it deferred comp. It's
Yep,
just next
deferred
month.
compensation.
And I remember you telling me there's going to be at least one day where me or Ben or David or Mike have to pull you off the ceiling.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm not going to let that happen to me because I've got more grit than that. And I was like, okay, well, if that was a day for a normal person, that would be today.
Yeah, look, because there are days that you want to jump out of the window. There are
Yeah.
days that you're gonna second guess yourself,
Mhm.
second guess your decision
Mhm.
or your worth. Like, oh my gosh, like what is it? Those of us that are geared a certain way, I've found those are the days that we actually double down on our efforts. Those are the days that and by the way, we need to go talk to people. Like that's why you have colleagues or sales managers or mentors in the industry, because we've all been there. I've always wondered because people are tuning in, and unfortunately, there's people who are tuned in and they want to be the next you, but they won't be.
Yeah.
Like something's going to happen, whether they don't have the fortitude, the aptitude, the attitude, they don't have the staying power, right? Whatever it is, and they got their license. They were on Rocky's study buddy group. They studied like hell. They passed. They paid for Xenix, and then 9 months later, they're back at the dealership.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing. It's just, hey, you gave it a go, which is why I'm like, it takes 2 years. It takes 2 years. It takes 2 years.
Yep.
And I'll tell you, because I've been instrumental in helping onboard you or shape you. Like, yes, you have a skill set. Like Jimmy, I'll tell you, is good at math.
Mm-hmm.
He is good at math. The 4th grade math we talk about, this dude knows it. To where I will sit in mortgage school, which, by the way, I commend you. The type of professional Jimmy is, mortgage school he's almost a little bit beyond it, but he still shows up. He still shows up saying, nope, I can learn something.
Yep.
Right? You still show up to scripting because you're like, no, I can learn something by coming. There's people who are in the industry for 6 weeks. They have to be in there. You don't have to, but it shows the type of professional you are. But you are good at math to where when you're in mortgage school, or by the way, if people go to tloponline.com, theloanofficerpodcast.com, you go to sales tools, a lot of the videos that we do in mortgage school where you hear me talking to the audience, I'm talking to guys like Jimmy or guys and girls just like Jimmy. So sometimes you hear me say, hey, what's 30% of 350? Jimmy, don't answer, right? Because Jimmy can do that math fairly quickly and accurate enough in his head. Was that always a skill set you had, or was that something you had to learn because of prior careers?
Yeah, I always kind of had that, but then in very mechanical is my background.
Yeah.
And it's all numbers. And then like a dealership or Cummins, a lot of labor time is split into tenths, or you say, okay, this job pays 1.5 and 7 and this. You kind of just add in those basic numbers up real quick, and or time clock. I mean, a lot of people can't figure out tenths of a time clock.
No.
That 6 minutes is a
yeah,
tenth.
6 minutes is 1/10. Yeah, that is tricky though.
Yep.
That is definitely tricky. Yeah, so I think I got the answer I wanted, which is you may be good at it, but I think it's more learned than it was God gifted.
Yeah.
Right? Like I came from TV advertising. In TV advertising, I actually had to skew the Nielsen overnight ratings. If the market of Atlanta had Nielsen overnight ratings, but Macon, Georgia didn't, I would have to compare, well, how does Atlanta viewership for that program typically skew, or how does it divide into Macon? And then I have to figure out for an advertiser how many eyeballs or viewers watched last night's episode of Survivor.
I gotcha.
Right?
Yeah.
So like I just got used to having to do that and negotiating airtime and because people, when you buy airtime, when you buy TV ads, you're buying views, you're buying eyeballs.
Okay.
So if I sold you X eyeballs and those eyeballs didn't show up that night, you still want the number of eyeballs I sold you. So I have to make it good. So I did that for 2 or 3 years. And because I did it as someone's assistant, that when I started selling on my own, I was better than my peers. And when I got in the mortgage industry, I was better. But never once did I do well in math in school.
Gotcha.
Like, I mean, I literally cheated my way through Algebra 1 in high school.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Yeah. So, but you do well. And it's people like you that taught me, like when I talk to others, it's like, look, you have to become good at 4th grade math.
Yep.
Even if you're not good already. And I just learned this about you. Well, you came from a career where, yes, you're helping people clock in and clock out. They had to be able to, divide 60 minutes into tenths.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 6 minutes, and you're doing, well, that's awesome. That's good to hear.
I mean, even as a young kid, I'm going on the road, and we talked about this before. I'll see something and be like, the percent off. What's 25% of this? And do that in your head and challenge yourself. Like, I don't like using GPS. I like to just look at the map and memorize it and go.
Okay.
If it's somewhere I don't know and it's a very heavy, congested area, I use GPS, but I think that it's a crutch and you lean on that. And I think calculators are a crutch you can lean on as well. They're good for the final number, but you should have a general idea. So
I do that. So you mentioned driving. It's so funny.
Yep.
I've always done it. Like for 2 decades now. I'm like, okay, if it says it's 200 miles to get to Jacksonville and I do 80 miles an hour, then how many hours or minutes is it going to take me to get there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
right? Yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, 80, I need to 80 goes into 200. How many times? And I was like, okay, well, it's going to take me 2 hours and 25 minutes.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, like what? Huh?
Yeah. How'd you convert 2.4 to?
Yeah.
To, So
yeah. So, but that's something that any person who's new to the industry, they're in the industry, but they still struggle with this math. It's thinking of it outside of the mortgage industry. Do it in your everyday life. Try to calculate the amount of time it's going to take you to drive from one place to another place. Try to calculate when you're at Nordstrom Rack and you're shopping the sale rack. By the way, that is how frugal I can become. That not only do I shop at Nordstrom Rack versus Nordstrom, but then I shop the sale rack.
Sale rack, yeah. Of course,
yeah. What's some good advice that you would have to younger, newer mortgage professionals? It could be like right now, they might not be newer and younger. They may be older than you and been doing the business longer than you, but they've been doing nothing but refis the past 3 years.
So based on my background and my family background, which I haven't touched on, both grandparents, both sides were small business owners.
Okay.
So we had a lot of that. It kind of became the person that has to do it. There's no one else to call. And when I worked at Cummins, we were talking about the Florida Hospital or Advent Health, whoever they call about their generator. I don't say, we're too busy next. Like, you get on that. You have to fix it. You can't bypass that. Or the car dealers, you can't send the car somewhere else. It comes to you. So when I have a loan, there's no option but to fix it. You grind it out and you figure it out. I would say that's the number one thing, is have that grit to figure out that there's a way to do it. Look around your office. I look at Kevin Murphy's and Ben's and Patrick's and Casey and Aaron Duba, people have been on the podcast, and you and Holbrook. It's all been done. I can promise you, whatever I'm going through, you guys have been through it. To keep moving forward. Don't stop.
No, that's great advice. Like, at the end of the day, like, my word I use is resourceful.
Yeah.
Like, are you resourceful? Because what I heard you say is no one's going to do it for you.
That's right.
Your family, you come from a family of small business owners. Whereas the small business owner, this is yours. You are the head of all these departments.
That's right.
Sales, marketing, loan structuring, loan origination. You're also sometimes the service department if something goes wrong or sideways. And you're also the customer service department. But what about when it comes to lead generation? Right? Because you gave me a very specific answer, which I appreciate, which is when you have a loan, take ownership. Don't expect someone else to figure it out. You figure it out, then go to your resources to either validate your thoughts or to help you get past sticking points.
Yeah. So, really, I just follow along with everything that I've been blessed that you've taught me with. I'm sure it's all on TLOP online, past videos. You just start working your network, your database, your clients. If you get a deal, you work both sides of that. You impress the listing agent, impress title, whoever you can, and just be accessible. Be nice, be personable, be compassionate, but be of the authority. Ooh,
so I love that word.
Yeah.
I've never had someone say, especially younger in their career, be the authority. You are the authority. Right? I don't care if you've been in the business for 12 weeks. You know more than 98% of the American populace when it comes to home loans, especially if you're licensed and you went through a course like Zenix or your company offered you some Zenix-style training. You might not have the experience, but you have the knowledge. And need to act that way. I do appreciate the shout outs because you are correct. After 220 plus episodes, somewhere there's probably a dozen episodes that will teach you how to do the business. And you're living proof that what is taught works.
Absolutely. We got a puppy during COVID. We got a puppy and we got a baby and a few pounds, the whole COVID trifecta. And I'd walk this German Shepherd every night, Sunday in the morning, and listen to the podcast, listen to things, and And it's the same message, and it's a good message. It's just putting it into practicality.
Yeah.
How do you do it? And
so you haven't gone out and swallowed some kind of a magic pill, and you haven't invented a new way of doing things.
no, I haven't paid a single dollar for a lead either.
Ooh, I like that. How much money have you spent on leads, Jimmy?
Zero.
$0. Zero is my favorite price. John Coleman always says, if it's free, it's for me.
Yep. And obviously, you have realtors ask, hey, can you help me out with this or that? And I'll tell them my service is getting your loan closed, helping you put more money in your pocket, helping you get deals, following your leads up. We have great systems to track leads and never forget about them. But let me help you close a loan. And when you send me a buyer or a contract, go find another one. I'll take care of it.
Yeah.
I don't need you worrying about it. I'll update you. I'll update the listing agent. I'll update title. I'll update everybody. And that, I feel, is worth more than the price of leads.
Yes, I would 100% agree with you. You were coached very well, and you are a great student for following that directions. And I'm not saying that purchasing leads or doing Zillow co-branded marketing doesn't work, because it does, but that's not how you have built your business. How would you rate yourself in terms of going on your sales calls today versus just a year ago? Like, can you go back a year ago and describe the emotions and what you thought, felt, and how you tackled your first sales calls?
Yeah, you're a little nervous at first. I mean, cold calling always is not good. I try to do warm calls, try to find a reason to call, whether it be somebody that we worked with in the past or somebody that maybe has worked with Waterstone and the loan originator is not here anymore. And now we have an option to kind of rekindle that relationship. But I remember I came in here the first time I got a realtor to meet with me. I was all excited about it. Like, oh my gosh, they actually do want to meet with me. And you come into business and you think that there's nobody out there looking for a loan. There's no realtors looking for new lenders. And that's just not the reality.
Say that again.
You come into business thinking that nobody's looking for a loan and there's not a realtor looking for a new lender partner. And that's not the reality.
Thank you for saying that, because I try to stay fairly active in my communication and my accessibility to the viewers and listeners, right? And I hear that a lot. Or I hop on YouTube, or I go on TLOP, and we have the online community, or YouTube, they have the comment section, and people are like, oh, can't do that. No realtor wants to talk to a lender in today's market. I'm like, no, that's not necessarily true. Yeah. And it's great to hear it from you, because you're like, look, I'm out there doing it. I'm out there doing it. And yes, people hang up on me. And yes, people don't call me back. And yes, people don't return my text message. But there are people out there who do. You just have to put forth the effort to find them. Yep. And then obviously, if you continue to grind, you will.
Yep.
What was your best strategy when you look at the 3 or 4 best referral relationships that you currently have? How did you build those 4?
Well, this is where I departed a little bit from our coaching.
Okay.
I kind of let it more organically grow, where I didn't shove my services towards them. Like, oh, let's meet. It was like, hey, one of my best referral partners. We do a lot of business now.
And how'd you meet him?
I met him through another realtor on a listing site. Said, hey, call Jimmy at Waterstone. I know them. They get weird things fixed. So I talked to him for probably 2 months, and he'd call me, kind of as his backup, like, hey, does this sound right? And then he had a rescue deal. I said, can you fix it? And so I can. And we've been hooked up ever since.
Okay, so here's what I hear. So it came from another realtor referred him. He reached out to you. Obviously, you picked up, so you were accessible.
Yep.
And the conversation he had with you was good enough for him to keep calling you.
Yep.
But you didn't get referrals right away.
No, and I didn't push him. I little hints like, hey man, I can do easy loans too, and send me one. And oh yeah, I will. But it wasn't a cold call of like, I'm the best ever. Use me. Let's meet for coffee. Let's meet. I didn't puke all over them as far as trying to get them to use me. I tried to offer them service and value.
But you met him through a realtor. How did you meet that realtor?
Another similar situation. So, and actually that realtor I never even met face to face, but he sends me stuff all the time and different people.
And then how did you meet the realtor who I mean, because it's
okay. All right. So this is how it works. So that realtor, actually, I met because she called in here, or they did, and you sent me an email on a Easter or Labor Day weekend, Friday night, and said, hey, do you want to look at this? I said, sure.
Yeah.
And I called.
So your sales manager had someone reach out to him.
Yep.
And he was like, I can't be bothered with this. Who's the rookie in the office? Who's going to be young, hungry, and aggressive? He said, yeah, I'll tackle this.
Yep. And I've got 3 or 4 realtors out of it and closed probably 7 or 8 loans out of that one
thing.
And
that's how it works.
Yep.
like when you hear me tell my story, her name is Viviana.
Mm-hmm.
I thought she was the bee's knees. I thought she was hot shit.
Mm-hmm.
I got her to meet with me, and she said, "Can I bring Yen Yao?"
Absolutely.
And I was like, no, actually, I wasn't that way because I was young and broke. And I'm thinking that's another $15. Back then, lunches weren't $25, only $15. That's another $15 that I'm gonna have to spend, right? And I just assumed. I'm like, yeah, and this guy probably works with a lot of investors, a lot of foreign buyers, and that's just it's not my clientele, not what I'm looking to do more of. Super long story short, Viviana ended up being not in real estate for long.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't sell that many homes.
Mm-hmm.
Yen is still today one of my favorite people ever. He is the consummate real estate professional. Mm-hmm. He is the type of realtor I would want to be. Mm-hmm. Yen then introduced me to Susan. Susan to Jenny. Jenny to George. George to Ronnie. Ronnie to Rusty. And all of a sudden, I went from a barely able to pay my bills loan officer who's driving around Orlando with a for sale sign in his sport track, mm-hmm. his student loans deferred and his cable shut off, mm-hmm. to be able to call my wife and say, honey, we can turn the cable back on. That's a true story.
Yeah.
Actually, she called me and said, hey, the cable company just called and they're offering us free HBO for a year.
I've been there.
And I was like, I think we can do it.
Yep.
How much? $100 a month. I go, sold. Right? Like,
yep.
But it's that easy. But what you have to do is not get discouraged, not have those self-limiting beliefs.
That's right.
The self-doubt. Get out there and do it. And and I love how you described it, because you talked about being compassionate mm-hmm. and caring mm-hmm. and all the personality traits. Mm-hmm. Honest, yourself,
yep.
accessible, mm-hmm. willing to answer questions, even if you don't know the answer, saying, hey, I don't know the answer, but let me get back to you.
That was the biggest thing. I knew I could do that, and I thought that was going to be the hardest thing to tell, whether it be a realtor or a client or anybody on the phone. And I would tell anybody starting out, use that. Tell people that. They will appreciate that more than you giving them some sort of line. Or
tell them you don't know.
Yeah.
So, is there a certain way that you would tell someone you didn't know the answer?
Yeah, of course. I say, so if it's a question about income, I'll say, man, that's a pretty impressive income. Congratulations on that. That's first for me. Let me double check into that. Actually, I had it last night. I have a traveling nurse, but she's not a traveling nurse. She kind of is. She left the hospital, works for a staffing company, but is W-2. She's not 1099, which we know mm-hmm. puts them into self-employed borrower. And I said, let me check with Underwriting to make sure I can use your $90 an hour income when you were making $20 an hour before.
Yeah.
And, because we're going to buy a pretty nice house. And I complimented her on what she's doing and her income, but I also said, I have no idea if I can use this at the same time.
Nice.
And she's all about it. So
I've always been a big fan of telling someone, like, look, the guidelines on that recently changed.
Yep.
Instead of me guessing, let me go pull up. I'm sure I have an email that I read a few weeks ago, but let me pull that back up. Or, like, I like what you said. Ooh, that's a very unique scenario. I'm not one who likes to guess. I'm one who likes to know, mm-hmm. and I have a phenomenal branch manager or sales manager. I'm gonna loop in an expert, so we can put our brains together and give you the right answer. And if you think about it, doctors do this, mm-hmm. right? Oh, I don't know. Let me call in the surgeon. I don't know. Let me call
specialist.
Let me call in the specialist.
Yep.
All they need to know is that you have access to other doctors. You have access to specialists. Mm-hmm. So that you can overcome it. Yeah. What are some things that we haven't covered yet, Jimmy, that you were hoping to make sure that we did talk about today?
Really want to go over the take the approach that you are the final answer. You are the solution. Now sometimes you have to, I call it Finkel, punt it. You have to punt it away. If it's I asked about Canadian loan the other day, and you're like,
yeah. By the way, Ray Finkel is who you're thinking of? Yeah. That's coming from Ace Ventura, Pet Detective.
That's right. Yeah.
Laces out, Dan. Okay. All right. So you call it the Finkel.
Yeah. So get rid of that one, and he is doing TD Bank. But for that, the realtor, I kind of called BS. I said, man, this doesn't pass the sniff test, and they got mad at me. And now, even more, clout is the word he uses that I have now, because I discovered the problem before, and he was pre-approved with somebody else, and it was a junk pre-approval. Oh. So it saved them from $800,000 embarrassment.
Yeah.
So, and because that realtor's reputation is on the line with that community. Anyway, so don't think that this is beneath you. Don't think that, I'll send this one somewhere else. Figure a way out. Remember, there's people on the backside of these loans. There's families, there's sellers, there's buyers, and many times you are changing people's lives. I bought homes and before I was in this business, and it's nerve-wracking. And remember that. Keep people updated. So I also did bring a prop today. And,
oh, you brought a prop?
Yeah.
It wouldn't fit on the table, though,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
So,
what is that you have?
This is the golden shovel.
Okay.
And
is that an award that you were given?
yeah, it's an award, and it's a certain shape.
Okay.
So this is not a ditch digging shovel. This is a
that's a manure shovel.
That's correct.
That's what that is,
It's
Jimmy.
manure
that's
shovel.
what you use to muck out a stall.
Yep.
Okay.
So put the deck over there.
How'd you get that?
So I've actually been awarded that twice now.
Okay.
I think it's kind of like a parody award, but it was pretty nice to get the first time around. You get that by having a loan that is
It's a flaming turd.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's a doable loan.
Yeah.
It's a doable loan.
Yep.
It's like you just told me.
Yep.
It's a human being on the line.
Yep.
It's two realtors who are looking for a commission check.
Mm-hmm.
It's a title company looking to provide a service and get paid. It's a seller who wants to get paid.
Yep.
And more importantly, or equally as importantly, it's a buyer who wants that property.
Yep.
And they don't have enough money to pay cash, so they're using financing.
Yep.
But they may be difficult to qualify.
Oh yeah. So
There's lots of, as I would say, there's lots of moving parts.
Yep.
There's
Yep.
lots of moving parts on this one.
So the shovel was awarded to me the first time. I think it was my second loan that closed. So it would have been April of last year. And with that story, I said the agent and the agent and the agent and the agent, the lead on that loan. And it was a big mess with a property that the owner had gone to jail for embezzlement, and they didn't have the funds. Long story. We made it happen, and we put a family in a home that was going to be homeless.
Was this one at which the seller had to sign in prison?
No.
Okay.
That was the ultimate golden shovel.
Yeah,
that Kevin
that's another
Murphy-
loan officer.
Yeah.
That's another loan officer had that one where literally the seller was in prison.
I think there's,
And we found a way to get it done.
Yeah, I think there's trademark, or we can't talk about it because it's been on
Yes.
national
Yes,
TV.
we can't.
Yeah.
We can't, and we won't talk about it. But
Yeah.
but no, that is a rite of passage.
Yep.
And that to me as a manager proves to me that as a salesperson, you're out there and you're finding a way to yes.
Yeah.
You are finding a way to yes. We do use it a little bit to poke fun at the loan officer for bringing that loan in the door.
Mm-hmm.
It is used to celebrate the processor and underwriter, and sometimes it's multiple processors, multiple underwriters, plus processing managers and VP of operations, and sometimes even our COO has to get involved in that file.
Yeah.
But we found a way to yes. We're trying to change the world one client at a time in this industry.
Yep.
What do you see the future looking like for you?
Well, I want to go back to the shovel.
Oh, okay.
You can't get the golden shovel unless you close a loan.
Okay.
So you have to close loans.
Yes.
with the shovel. So to get
so you're proud of that. That's,
Yeah, absolutely, I
That's your trophy
am.
that you know you're closing loans.
Yeah,
For me, it would be your paycheck, but
Well, sure, but yeah, that shovel comes with a nice commission check and all
Yes.
that, and it's a little bit of a joke. And obviously, in a couple of years, I'd probably have a different take, and and some of the guys around his office probably laugh at my paycheck. But that's for me, it's a big deal. So
it is a big deal. And it's no one should laugh at it, especially knowing where you are in your career.
absolutely.
I'm more curious. Where do you want to go?
All right, so in where's the market for us? Was the question you
No,
asked?
you, Jimmy Nadeau,
Oh,
year and a half into your mortgage career,
mm-hmm.
closing $1 million a month, making more money per month than you're ever used to.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you want to take your career?
Well, really motivated after going to our Momentum Sales Conference in Nashville. I want to be in President's Club, which is $20 million.
Okay.
So I don't think that'll happen this year, but it could. And you never know.
I'm reading Grant Cardone's book, Something Obsessed or Obsessive.
Yep.
Yeah. It just Grant would tell you, just tell everyone it's going to happen.
It's
going to happen.
Yeah, it
Okay.
is. It is. I got I had a contest with Mike Smalley and Ben here. If I did a certain goal, I'd get a new office with a view, and I did that.
You did, yes.
Yeah. So I got to go. I mean, I don't care. I don't care. I'm in the building. I don't care where I'm at. I can do loans from anywhere. But
You kicked an old
it's
veteran out of his office, then he quit.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
You kicked a dude out of his office, Jimmy,
Yep.
but you earned it.
Yes,
So
yes.
you earned that office.
Yep, and which is cool. So I want to do that, and then get to the level that we've seen some of the past guests, Casey and Patrick. Mike Williams is another story because he's came in on fire. But get to the comfortable level where I'm not worried about my monthly paychecks, where I have savings, where I have second home possibly. My wife is sleeps comfortably at night because there's money in the bank and the kids, and really get into the $20-30 million mark as far as production is kind of what my short-term goal is.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good. What advice would you have for yourself looking back a year and a half ago as you were getting into the industry? Anything you wish you would have done more of, you would have done less of, or double down on?
So when I started doing cold calls, it was still heavy refi.
Okay.
And when I first got in the industry, and I told realtors, little bit of a fib. I said, hey, we've all been doing refi so long. I'm re-energizing my purchase business.
Okay.
And I want to be, and no one was doing that. Right
Yeah.
now they're doing it, but everyone was still on the refi train for obvious reasons. And I was able to snag quite a few top producing realtors because their loan officer had been absentee, buried in refi files, and press them with us and that. So I would double down on that.
You would have doubled down because the market, like the saying we use in the business industry is take what the defense has given you. It's a football terminology. The defense was given you back in February, March, April, May of last year. LOs were still hardcore into refis. You don't have a past client database. You weren't hardcore into refis. So you were calling realtors being like, hey, I'm Jimmy. I would love to service you and your buyers. Yeah. And okay, so you wish you would have done more of that.
Yep. And then I definitely have been put my blinders on for obvious reasons of rates and saying, I remember I told you the other day, I said, what does it matter what the rate is to me? Why do I care? And to a certain aspect of, I don't, because if rates are 4.5 for me, they're 4.5 for everybody else.
Yep.
And there's still purchase volume. There's still, my first home was a 6 and it was an amazing rate.
Yes. And you remember that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and you because you can't control what the market's going to do.
No, you can't.
You cannot control. And sure, you may be able to go to another lender and your company's offering 5.5 and they're offering 5.25.
Yeah.
Hell, they may be offering 5 1/8. But here's what you don't know. What you don't know is what is their underwriting policies and procedures. We have people joining our company right now, and their biggest issue was when they get a clear to close. It wasn't a real clear to close. Their company has this hardcore quality control where basically the file gets re-underwritten after the underwriter gives the CTC, and they were having transactions not close on time, blow up in the last minute because something didn't pass a QC audit. Now, loans need to be QC'd, but they should be QC'd at the same time they're being underwritten and all behind the scenes.
That's right.
It shouldn't happen after the fact where it's going to blow up your transaction.
That is right. The rescue loan I took was from one of them.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, it's that thing.
Yes. And it's one of those things that you have to understand as a loan officer. Rates are rates are rates, but you need to be at the place that's going to help you conduct your business with regardless of what the rate market's doing. So you're doing a good job of that now, right? You're saying, look, I don't really care where rates are. It matters a little bit because someone that was qualified maybe 6 months ago, if they were tight, well, rates jumping from 4.25 to 5.5, all of a sudden has priced them out of the market. And you may have lost 1 or 2 pre-approved buyers, but in today's market, you have 8 pre-approved buyers for only 4 homes on the market. So even if you lost 2, you still have 6 pre-approved buyers for only 4 homes on the market.
Yep. And I just go back to like the, we $7 or $8 a month per eighth per 100,000 sort of thing. And I'll say, hey, it's about $56 a month per full point per 100,000.
Yeah.
So if we're buying a $200,000 house, it's $112 a month difference from 4 to 5 or 5 to 6.
Yep.
So we're talking about your example was a quarter. That's $23 a month.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I love you're totally speaking my love language, just doing that math in your head that
way. Splitting hairs here over and over. Well, so then, final thing I would say is be Patrick Cheyenne was the motivation for this. Be the student of the game. Learn stuff. I'm just now starting to learn a lot of the yield curves, and I watch bonds and coupons and the 4.0 or 2.5 and all those sort of things. And I don't know what that great to speak to mortgage lenders, but I can make a real nice presentation to realtors. I did an open house on Friday with 2 realtors and spoke to them very, very fluid, very easy to explain to them what rates are doing and why they're moving, if possible recession, if this. Know that. That's what our job is. Be an advisor.
Yes.
Not an order taker. Be an advisor.
Awesome. Any last minute parting shots? Because JC's giving me the old watch. Hey, we're coming up on time. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. Like, obviously you and I have a working relationship. We're friends. We're colleagues. I've loved supporting you as you've launched your career. I look forward to supporting you as you continue to do so. Yep. But to the listeners who don't necessarily get to work in the office with you and I day to day, any last minute advice that you'd have to them?
Believe in yourself. Again, go back to the simple fact that they're not buying a mortgage or buying a home. Help them get the home.
Awesome. If people want to contact you, are you open to that?
Absolutely.
What do you prefer? Like, I prefer LinkedIn. If you want to connect with me, Facebook is terrible.
Yeah.
LinkedIn is great. Instagram is way better than Facebook, but still not as good as LinkedIn. How would you want someone to reach out to you if they just want to ask you a quick question or two?
Probably email would be the best. I have LinkedIn, but
Yep.
I've been
You're one of those.
Yep.
That's good.
So-
You know what? So was I until about 2 years ago, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So was I until 2 years ago. And then I had a guest that actually challenged me
Yep.
to become better.
Yep.
And I incorporated it as a habit.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's jnadeau at waterstonemortgage.com.
Yes.
Spell Nadeau for us.
It's November Alpha Delta Echo Alpha Union. Nadeau.
J. Nadeau. He's Jimmy. Don't call him James unless he's in trouble.
Yep.
Jimmy, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule,
Absolutely.
away from closing loans and pre-approving borrowers and calling on realtors.
This is closing day outfit. Yeah, closing day this afternoon.
Wearing his closing day outfit, but
Yep.
he's Jimmy Nadeau. He is a rookie loan officer. I'm Dustin Owen, the host of the Loan Officer Podcast. This is all the time we have for you today. Check him out by emailing him. Check me out on LinkedIn. Check out the show on theloanofficerpodcast.com. We're on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you can find your podcast. And more importantly, share. Sharing is caring, and we want you to care about yourself as well as others.
That's right.
We'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.